The M23, or March 23rd movement, is a rebel group operating in the Democratic Republic of Congo, also known as the DRC. Its roots can be traced back to the National Congress for the Defense of the People, or CNDP. The CNDP, a predominantly Tutsi group, had been engaged in armed conflict with the DRC government. In 2009, they signed a peace agreement, the March 23rd Agreement. This agreement promised integration into the national army and political reforms. However, the agreement quickly unraveled. The M23 emerged in 2012. They took their name from the date of the agreement, March 23rd. The group claimed the government had failed to honor the terms of the peace deal. They accused the government of marginalizing the Tutsi population and failing to address their security concerns. This marked the beginning of a new chapter in the DRC's long history of conflict. The M23, under the leadership of Bosco Ntaganda, quickly gained notoriety. They exploited the Congolese army's weaknesses and capitalized on ethnic tensions. Their ranks swelled with disgruntled soldiers and young recruits, disillusioned with the government's inability to provide security or opportunity. Their emergence underscored the fragility of peace in the region and the deep-seated grievances that fueled the conflict. The international community expressed concern over the M23's formation and their stated goals. However, the group's initial advance was swift and they soon controlled significant territory in North Kivu province. This early success highlighted the complex dynamics at play in eastern DRC, where rebel groups, ethnic tensions, and competition for resources created a volatile mix. The M23's rise to prominence signaled a dangerous escalation of the conflict and foreshadowed the challenges that lay ahead. In 2012, the M23 launched a major offensive. They quickly seized control of Goma, a strategically important city in eastern DRC. This sent shockwaves through the region and the international community. The capture of Goma demonstrated the group's military capabilities and their ability to challenge the Congolese government's authority. The fall of Goma sparked international condemnation. The United Nations, the African Union, and various Western governments called for the M23 to withdraw. Under mounting pressure, the M23 withdrew from Goma. This marked a turning point in the conflict as international pressure began to mount on the rebel group. However, the M23 remained a potent force. They continued to control territory in North Kivu and engage in clashes with the Congolese army. The group's resilience highlighted the challenges of achieving lasting peace in the region. Despite setbacks, they continued to pose a significant threat to stability. Internal divisions and mounting international pressure eventually led to the M23's weakening. In 2013, the group was defeated by the Congolese army, backed by a United Nations intervention brigade. This defeat led to the capture of key leaders, including Bosco Ntaganda, who was later handed over to the International Criminal Court. Despite their defeat in 2013, the M23 remained a latent threat. In late 2021, the group resurfaced under the leadership of Sultani Makenga. This resurgence of violence shattered the fragile peace in eastern DRC. The M23 cited the government's failure to fully implement the 2013 peace agreement as the reason for their return to arms. The M23 quickly regained strength, recruiting new fighters and expanding their territorial control. They targeted strategic areas, including mining regions, to fund their operations. The group's resurgence highlighted the persistent grievances and the challenges of achieving lasting peace in the region. Their return to the battlefield signaled a dangerous escalation of the conflict and raised concerns about a wider regional destabilization. In 2022, the M23 launched a series of offensives, making significant territorial gains in North Kivu province. They captured the strategic town of Bunagana, a key trading hub on the border with Uganda, further consolidating their control over resources and supply routes. This advance displaced thousands of civilians, exacerbating the humanitarian crisis in the region. The international community condemned the M23's resurgence and called for a ceasefire. However, the group continued its offensive, capturing more territory and displacing more civilians. By early 2023, the M23 controlled a significant portion of North Kivu, bringing them closer to Goma once more and raising fears of a repeat of the 2012 crisis. The M23's resurgence has had a devastating impact on the civilian population. The conflict has resulted in widespread displacement, with hundreds of thousands of people forced to flee their homes. The United Nations estimates that over 5 million people are internally displaced in the DRC, making it one of the world's worst displacement crises. The M23 has been accused of committing serious human rights abuses, including extrajudicial killings, sexual violence, and the recruitment of child soldiers. These abuses have further fueled the cycle of violence and impunity in the region. The targeting of civilians and the use of brutal tactics have created a climate of fear and instability, making it increasingly difficult to address the root causes of the conflict. The international community has responded with concern to the M23's resurgence. The United Nations Security Council has imposed sanctions on M23 leaders and called for an end to the violence. However, these measures have had limited impact in curbing the group's activities or addressing the underlying drivers of the conflict. The situation in eastern DRC remains highly volatile. The M23's resurgence is a stark reminder of the challenges of achieving lasting peace in the region. The conflict continues to cause immense suffering for the civilian population, and a lasting solution remains elusive. The international community faces the daunting task of addressing the root causes of the conflict, including ethnic tensions, competition for resources, and the presence of numerous armed groups to prevent further bloodshed and instability.